Are you new to the indie publishing world? Do you want to know if self-publishing is right for you? You've come to the right place, where you'll find tips, tricks, and the answers to the questions you've always had about writing, marketing, and self-publishing. Welcome to the Hot Mess Writer's Life. Help for the indie author with me, Lynn Howard. Hey, y'all. Welcome back. It is Lynn Howard. We are live with Mr. Bryan Cohen. He is known as the Ad Guy, author, and Blurb CEO. He's a co-founder of Sell More Book Show podcast, one of my faves, the founder of the 5-Day Author Ad Challenge, which I've taken twice, and the creator of Best Page Forward. And something I want to know about before we're done is a game show contestant. Say hello, Mr. Bryan.
Hello, Lynn. Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
I've been dying for this interview. I took the first time I took your ad challenge was the first time I made a 4-digit income month from my books.
That is awesome. I'm so glad to hear that.
And since then, I've been, each time I take your course, I learn something new, and I am now making an income from my books because of that.
Yay. Well, that's music to my ears.
Well, I mean, that's what you strive to do, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So I want to know, how did you become the Amazon ad guru?
That's a good question. I kind of choked on guru. Guru is it's very nice. It's very nice. But well, it's interesting. As you kind of mentioned in the bio, that I run Best Page Forward, which writes book descriptions for the author community and ad copy and all of that stuff. And one thing I was finding was, hey, we would write a great blurb, we would send it over to the author, and then they would kind of get cold feet sometimes. They'd say, oh, well, I put it up for 3 days and my sales went down. And so I took it down. And it's well, 3 days really isn't enough time to judge these things. But what should we tell people to judge this on? And we kind of stumbled upon the idea of conversion rate, which I believe was first explained to me by Bryan Meeks. And we said, okay, well, when we send a blurb over, people should check their conversion rate, which is how many clicks it takes to get a sale. And we said, well, what kind of clicks are they going to figure out? It's well, why don't they run Amazon ads? Okay. Does anyone here know how to run really good Amazon ads? And I'd had some experience, so I started diving in, learning it, studying it, and eventually teaching other people how to do it. And that was what led to kind of going from the blurb person to the ad person.
So that kind of segues in. When you chose the niche of helping people learn to write ads, what was your deciding factor? How did you decide, you know what, I've learned this, now I want to teach the world?
Well, I'm very much a kind of person who, as soon as I learn something, I like to teach it. I'm not big on secrets. And so, but also I'm a big fan of the community growing. I want the community to improve and grow, and I want people to make more money doing the work that they do. And so I said, oh, well, now that I have a greater understanding of this, I wonder, would this work for more than just our clients at Best Page Forward? Could this work for everybody? And so we said, let's give it a shot. And hey, for a lot of people, it has worked. It certainly doesn't work for everybody, but I think that even if it doesn't work, usually it shows that the author needs to make a few tweaks, usually on their sales page, like their cover or their blurb. At no point is it ever, you tried ads, Amazon ads, they didn't work. Well, let's go try 7 other ad types, because none of them are going to, it's not likely any of them are going to work better than Amazon ads for Amazon sales. And so We're trying to save people the trouble.
I've tried Facebook ads, and I try to tell people after running, doing your course, people are on Amazon to buy books.
Right.
People are on Facebook to look at pictures of cats and argue about politics.
Yes.
That's apparently
It's all
all it
true.
is. Cats, dogs, and politics anymore. So you have a full paid course, which I'm hoping to take this next quarter, and you
Ooh,
have the free one. Now,
yes.
what made you decide to do a free course each quarter?
I've been really inspired by seeing people do challenges, which is essentially like almost like a free teaser, but it's not just like one of those webinars. It's not just here, check out 20 minutes worth of content and then decide whether or not you want to invest your hard
Right,
earned savings
right.
into something. Um, what I like about challenges is that they're actionable, that people through doing the challenge, they actually will create ads. They will actually try things. They will actually learn by doing, that wonderful kinesthetic learning, as they say, where you actually do the stuff. And I love teaching in that way. And it was just the sort of thing where we did originally just have webinars leading people into the course. But once they got into the course, Author Ad School, they wouldn't always be. They would get stuck so early in the process that I just figured, well, let's get them 25% of the way there right off the bat, and then they can decide if they want to keep doing them on their own, as you have to this point,
Yes.
or go into the course to have kind of a deeper learning and more support.
Well, and I can say firsthand for anybody that's ever seen the challenge pop up and you're wondering, there's daily videos, there's daily homework, and he explains everything. I mean, I have it written down in a notebook so that I can go back and, when I'm running a new ad each time. And I did what you said, and I went back and checked my sales page, and I did have to make some tweaks. And my husband can tell you the first time we hit that 4-digit month, I've been doing this for 10, 11 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And I was kind of doing it as a hobby until about 2 years ago. And this past year, I found that challenge and I was like, boom, we went out to eat for dinner and celebrating and doing shots. And it's
That's
literally a
amazing.
step by step for anyone that's ever wondered about doing the challenge. And I can't wait to do the full course. Like I'm dying to do the full course. Now, I kind of summed up and you kind of summed up the free course. What can people expect from the full course?
Well, one of the things that we really like about the full course, and I think I just got an email about it this week, is that we know everybody is on a different schedule. There are different people in different time zones, and not just the US time zones, the UK, Australia, all around the world. And so we have set up the course in such a way that there are actually live check-ins with various members of our team. Not all of us are up in New Zealand time, so
Right.
we do have our friendly New Zealander there to be there, but there to answer questions live, to be there to cover a few topics, and then to answer questions live. And then we also, I've taken a bunch of the courses too. Usually it's the courses are in a Teachable or a Kajabi or a something. You go watch them at your leisure, and then you hopefully learn it. But I never liked that because too many people just don't do it. So we actually have all of our modules, we rerun them every quarter live. So we don't re-record it unless unless an
You
update is needed,
update, right.
but we will actually run it live. You can show up, there's a person there, we'll press play, you watch the module, and you get to ask questions as you have them. And so we've really tried to bring a lot of, you are there, get your questions figured out now, ask questions in our support group, etc., so that you can move forward. We're trying to do everything in such a way so that you can move forward. And the ad course, Author Ad School, is kind of geared toward that 7-day a week support.
Right, right. You've built a wonderful community too. The after party and, the ads challenge and everything.
Mm-hmm,
Everybody
mm-hmm.
is so supportive of each other. And Bryan actually boosts that. Make sure you go and tell somebody congratulations. I like that because I'm a feel good person and I'm like you. I want everyone to succeed. I want everybody that tries to write, I want you to succeed. I cheer when I see a fellow author got a movie deal or anything like that. I get so
Same,
excited.
same.
Can you tell us about Best Page Forward? We talked a little bit about that. I know you do copywriting.
Yes, yes.
And
So,
elaborate, please.
wasn't that enough? No, copywriting is all about short and sweet, right? No, so Best Page Forward, we started back in 2015, 2016, and I was looking to figure out a way to combine what I was doing for most of my income at that time, freelance writing, with something in the author world because I really loved connecting with and helping authors. And so a friend of mine, Simon, who used to be the host of the Rocking Self-Publishing podcast, a podcast of yesteryear that is no longer in service because Simon is now a big YouTube star. But
Oh,
I know.
and him.
and and so he came up with that idea for me of kind of combining the two. And so I started promoting this business where I would write book descriptions for people, and I was charging way too little. Joanna Penn sent me an email with the subject line "Crazy Man," and said, "Fine, you can be on the show now because you're charging so little for this service." And that I thought that was great. And I have been kind of writing those on my own for some time, but then I started to say, well, I won't be able to keep fulfilling this demand if I'm just on my own. So I opted to I opted to start training people in the arts of copywriting, of book description writing, and now I have a team of about, I think right now it's about 9 writers and
Oh,
editors, and they're working on it every week. We sometimes have dozens and dozens over the course of a week to work on, and it's been great because we've had some people come back and say, I changed my blurb and I got a BookBub featured deal, or I changed my blurb and my conversion rate started to improve. I started to be a lot more profitable. And we've even moved into covers and metadata research, like categories and
right.
keywords and such. And we had an author who this was really fun. They said, I'm not sure I like this first one. I might get a refund. And we said, no. Like, we'll work on it. We'll edit it. We'll get it together for you. And they ended up liking it so much, they bought 12 of them. And these are not, it's like for a cover, a blurb, and metadata, it's not like $5 for that. It's
I looked at your prices; they're reasonable. So they're don't make it sound like you're charging $5,000.
No,
I looked at all.
I know, because some
Yeah,
people do charge five thousand
right.
dollars
No, I looked at all
for
your
that sort of
prices.
stuff. Yeah, and so they went back and bought 13, and I found out they recently had their best month ever, tens of thousands of dollars, and certainly can't all be attributed to the work that we did, but
Well, I
it's
mean,
amazing. It's
people
amazing
do
to see what can be possible.
people do judge books by the cover and by the back blurb, and so yeah, I think a lot of that does have to do with what you guys helped with that. I always tell my husband, I'm like, my books are really good if people would just read them. Like, I just need Bryan to come move in and do all the outside work for me. Now,
Hey.
we have some big news coming up. You have a book on emails and a Kickstarter coming.
Yes, yes. So the day this podcast goes live, it will actually be less than 24 hours into the campaign. So this is a new book. It's kind of in a way, a sequel to a book that I wrote last year into this year called Self-Publishing with Amazon Ads, and did a whole Kickstarter around that. And that was so fun. Decided to do it all over again, write a new book focused on email marketing. Now, I've read a lot of books for how-to books on publishing, and it's it's the sort of thing, and we've all done it. Like you and I will both raise our hands on this one, Lynn. Uh,
Yeah.
how many of you out there in the listening world have ever bought a book on publishing or marketing and then tried to skip around to the good parts?
What? I would never.
Never in a million years. I'm raising
Never.
my hand, by the way. Raising my hand. So I wanted to make a book that was in a way you could not do that. And you had to follow it from beginning to end so that you understood the philosophy. But at the same time, there was a reason behind it. And so the reason behind people not wanting to skip around is that there is actually a story woven in through the book.
Oh.
And inside, I am working with a student, an author, who is trying to learn the ropes of email. And in this particular book, our wonderful student is named Nina, and she wants to do everything that's brand new. She wants to try everything. She wants to be chasing all of the shiny objects in the publishing world. And she wins this coaching. She wins this enrollment in this year-long coaching program where the focus is email. And right from the get-go, she says, well, can we change that up? I don't understand why we should focus on email when that's so old. Email is losing its effectiveness. Like, what's the point? What's the point of doing email? And so part of my journey as a coach in the book is to convince Nina and the reader of the book that email is still, here in 2022 and beyond, remains one of the best ways to connect with readers and to continue connecting with readers. And so there's a lot of how-to explanatory stuff in the book, but the thing I'm the most excited about is sharing the story of the emotional journey that an author will go through when trying to figure out this email stuff.
Oh, because it's hard or something?
Something like that. I don't know.
You said skipping around, and I just happened to have my phone in my hand. How to write a sizzling synopsis. I may or may not skip the homework each time because I'm usually laying on my couch in the dark reading.
I know, and you're not the only one. I certainly love encouraging people to do the exercises in sizzling synopsis. At some point, like chapter 8 or chapter 9, I actually call out the people skipping around and say, like, well, if you skip to this chapter, welcome to the book. And I had a few reviews that liked that little call out there.
I should have mentioned when I was introducing you that you're a part-time comedian and into improv as well. Because half of your videos they crack me up. I sit there chuckling. So what can we expect with the Kickstarter?
So much. Oh my goodness.
And where can we find it? Like Kickstarter is that's the word of the year.
Yes, it is.
OMG. And why would that be?
Oh, it might have something to do with Brandon Sanderson pulling in $45.5 million from a Kickstarter campaign.
I've never even tried one, and even I want to try one now.
I know.
I want to get my books on audiobook so bad.
That's a good place to do that sort of thing because you can set a reasonable goal and then try to exceed it so that every single, like, if you set a pretty reasonable goal, like $250, $500, you'll at least be able to cover some of the audio.
Right.
But
$45 million wouldn't hurt. I mean,
$45 million wouldn't hurt.
Yeah. It's a nice cushion.
If you end up somewhere between $250 and $45 million, you're in good shape.
From what I understand, he went and was like donating to other indie authors and stuff. Yeah, that's pretty. I don't fault him for that. I mean, he's a brilliant writer for one thing, brilliant marketer. I mean, shoot, do you, boo?
Whenever there is backlash about these sorts of things, usually the people having the backlash are either they have not had success to that point, or they are extremely, extremely jealous of the success the other people have had.
I always compare it. I used to clean houses. I actually had a housekeeping company years back,
Oh, nice.
2008, 2009. It was pretty successful. I had big monster houses, and people, does that make you jealous going in there? I'm like, these people are working 16 plus hours and they've got master's and doctorates degrees. Why would I be jealous of that?
Yeah.
I don't do that. I worked my 8 to 10 hours and I'd go home.
Yeah.
I made decent money doing it. 2009, it crashed when everybody was losing their jobs, but that's okay. And that's kind of when I started my writing career, when there wasn't podcasts and all this stuff out there that people can find now. But I think having all this stuff has kind of hurt authors too, because like you said, they're trying to do all the shiny new things.
You're right. That's why I had to put that persona into the book, because I know so many authors would identify with a person who is pulled in a lot of different directions. Yep. And I was finishing up the final chapter of the book just the other day, and I kind of came into some fun, like the resolution of that person's journey, of someone who is a shiny object person. How do they get out of it? And a lot of it comes from a realization that you don't have to go wide, you don't have to go broad, you can go deep, and you can still have very specific shiny objects within a subject. You don't have to go to the conference that has 70 different panels and learn everything.
One of the reasons I don't go to 20 books, that's overwhelming.
It's a great conference, but it is a lot. There's no question that there's a lot.
I was one of those shiny people, even up until about a year ago. Every time something came new, I even tried to be on all the social medias, and it got overwhelming. And I keep like tooting your horn here. I came across your ads challenge and I told my husband, this is what I'm focusing on. And so I have, I think, 10 ads running right now. And like I said, I'm making an income now from just the books, not from anything else I'm doing, that alone, because of those ads. And then now, since I feel like I've kind of gotten the hang of it, now I'm sizzling synopsis, and, I'm going to be working on the emails, and, so I'll be one of your first buyers.
Yeah.
I'll be one of your first Kickstarter supporters. You're going to see me waiting by the computer at like midnight. Clink.
Wow. It's going to start in the afternoon, so you just be ready.
Oh, okay. So I don't have to get up.
Stay up all night. Yeah. We try to launch it when we're about to, I don't click the button until I'm like halfway through a webinar, and then I launch it while a bunch of people are live. And that's actually, that's a good tactic generally when you're doing a Kickstarter. Generally people do start it kind of just, it'll start right at the beginning of this day. But why not have like a little party going?
That's kind of fun. I like that.
Yeah.
So where's it going to, we try that again. Where is it going to be? You're going to be like on your channel, on your podcast? Where?
So I'll be doing a webinar called The 5 Myths of Email Marketing. It'll be done by the time this podcast goes live. It'll be 8 hours completed. But once it goes live, the campaign will be at kickyouremail.com. Yeah. And so if you go to kickyouremail.com between now and June 30th, 2022, you would be able to contribute. There's a bunch of different levels. We're going to do, get this, a Grow Your Email List challenge.
Oh,
and
okay.
So there will be a challenge. It's Kickstarter only, so only people who back the Kickstarter will be able to participate.
I'm in.
Cool. Got number 1.
Yes.
Sold. But there's also going to be a 2-day live event, a virtual event that is only email. I've never seen anybody really do this, so I'm excited about it. We have, just like your usual weekend conference, there's about 10 speakers, all very good. Folks like Jamie Albright and Monica Leonel and a bunch of cool folks, Damon Courtney from Book Funnel. But the only topic being discussed is email. It's all email, all specific areas of email marketing for the whole weekend. And so it's kind of the anti big conference with 70 different ideas. It's totally focused on email, and that is going to be one of the backing levels. And then I'm also doing an email vault. I'm opening up all the emails I've written for fiction and nonfiction so that you can beg, borrow, and steal them and use them for inspiration. And so it's going to be a lot of fun.
I don't know why anybody would say email is dead, because I get all my stuff through email, and I find new challenges through email. I find new courses through email, things like that. So I'm not the best at remembering to send emails out regularly.
I have tips for that in the book.
Well, I actually have a VA now. And she has a schedule for me, and she has put reminders somehow on the schedule that dings from my phone, because I forget to do Instagram, because, you get to doing stuff, the podcast and the editing. And I don't know how you haven't lost your voice, start sounding like Tony Robbins at some point, as much as you have to talk.
Every so often I do. It's because I'm consistently, my sipping here, my I'm constantly sipping throat coat tea. So
I do lemon water.
Nice, very smart.
I have, as you can hear, a raspy voice naturally. It's because you smoked. I sounded like this at 4 years old. I've always had
smoking at 4 years old.
I was a rebel. I'm just saying,
Totally.
So I blow my voice real easily. So if I only do one convention a year. Like, I go with my books to one convention a year, and it's my favorite one in Illinois. I have to request this year that she not put me near the fountain, because by the time I go home, I have no voice. Because again, it's strange to me when people come up to my table and they know who I am and they know my books and they want to talk to me. And, well, of course I'll talk to you. And then I have no voice left because I'm yelling over the ambient noise and the fountain and everything else. But you have your podcast. Actually, you have 3, don't you?
At various points, I've had a ton. So currently, Sell More Book Show podcast is
my favorite.
It's a big thing. Thank you. Myself and Claire Taylor, who
I love Claire. She cracks me up.
She's so funny. She is so funny.
She gets mad and she gets quiet.
Yes. Yes, you can definitely hear when that's happening. Thankfully, I have never incurred that wrath, and I would not want to. And so that comes out every Wednesday, kind of just like yours. And then
oh, well, that's why, because you're taking my audience. Okay.
No. Well, you could move to Thursday. No.
I'm going to have to now.
Yeah, see? And then the Best Page Forward has a podcast that I think is currently in hiatus called Blurbs Sell Books, which is a great show about book description specifically. But I've had 2 other shows. I did a comedy show with Claire way back when, which has been discontinued, scrubbed from the internet. It was not safe for work. And then I previously did a couple shows, Relentless Authors Advertise, which was kind of just a 1-season thing. And then I did a show called The Split, which was a book review show from an author and reader perspective. And that was a lot of fun. So
I'm always scared to review books because I'm scared of people like, oh, I'm going to get you now. So I don't even, half the time, unless it's something I love, I won't mention.
It was all trad pub stuff where no author's going to ever even listen to it. So
have you ever trad pubbed?
I have not. Have you?
I have, and I hated it.
Oh, no.
I hated it. I'm kind of a control freak. If you ever go back and listen to my podcast or my YouTube channel, I say that 1,000 times. I'm a control freak. I hated my covers. Debut book with a debut author 100 years ago, they put it at $6.99. And for an ebook for a brand new author at $6, and that's That's
Yeah.
when, self-publishing was first coming out. And like, so, I had all this competition and then splitting my royalties and not having any say in a lot of stuff. I hated it. So
Yeah.
I tried it 2 or 3 times. I can't remember. That was it. I've been self-published since. And I did the faux pas. I did 99 cents for the longest time.
Well,
And
that was the way for a long
yeah.
time. So
Well,
that's
just
normal.
recently, my husband and my best friend, my husband's an artist. He works for a very large courier company. I'll say that.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
My best friend owns 2 businesses. She's a dog groomer and she owns a kennel. Technically, she owns 3, but she doesn't actually have anything to do with the third one. Both of them pressured me into raising my price. Since I raised them to $2.99, I'm selling way more.
That's awesome.
It was like, because I was so scared that people were like, oh, no, it's not worth it. I'm like, you know what? I am worth it. I put a lot of time into these books, a lot of money and editing and cover art and everything else. So, yeah, I'm learning from all y'all. Like, you would think being in the game as long as I have been that I would know. But my other favorite podcast is gone. They shut down.
6-figure authors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was so sad.
Well,
I almost cried.
I would, have hope because prior to 6-figure authors, Lindsay and Joe were on the sci-fi and fantasy marketing podcast, and so I think Lindsay will get the urge again to podcast.
The bug.
Yeah.
Yeah, they all had their own reasons, and I respect, because I'm getting ready to go on hiatus myself in 2 weeks. I think you're my third to last for the summer because I'm gearing up for some other things right now. But yeah, I'm fixing to go on just until after the show in September is when I'll come back. I needed a break. You
deserve a break. We all deserve a break.
Well, and I've got the 2 podcasts that I'm trying to build a business on the side that this not book related. So, how did you meet Kristen Bell?
Oh,
I saw that on your website.
I like it. Okay. So, 2012, I believe, it was either 2012 or 2013. My wife and I, we weren't married yet. We were getting married. The day that my wife went wedding dress shopping, I was alone, and who knows if this would have happened if I wasn't alone. But I was sitting around, and hey, this brings everything full circle, right? I was getting the updates from the show that I really liked, Veronica Mars. And I got an update that said, hey, there's this Kickstarter campaign starting today to try to fund a Veronica Mars movie. And I said, ooh, I'm interested in this. How interested? I was interested enough to say, well, we could always get a refund on this high-end purchase to go to the Hollywood movie premiere of Veronica Mars and the after party. And my wife said, oh, wow, that was quite a decision you made. And yeah, let's do it. And so we helped to fund the movie. It was created. The next year, we went to Hollywood and went to, I think it was at the Grauman's Theater, and we went to the after party and got to meet folks like Kristen Bell and Dax Shepard and the creator of the show and all of these people that had been in the show. But we had a great photo op. They had like one of those photo companies that was taking party photos,
right?
And just the stars were up there with silly hats and stuff, and you got to pose with them. And so my wife and I posed with Kristen Bell and a few other people.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
I've only met musicians. I can't think of any actors that I've met.
Musicians are still cool.
Well, and I don't fangirl over musicians because I grew up with music. My daddy was a musician. Mm-hmm. Actually, I married a musician. He doesn't play anymore, but I grew up around them. So I never I met, Poison, Counting Crows.
Oh, cool.
I was a teenager. I can't remember that. Yeah. That was 100 years ago. What game show was that picture from?
Okay. So About a year before that all happened, it was a pretty wild couple of years. I auditioned for and got onto Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Oh my God. How'd you
Mm-hmm.
do? How'd you do?
Oh, it was great. The host at the time was Meredith Vieira. It was the syndicated version. No fastest finger. So everyone who got into the waiting room, got into the green room, was going to be on the show. And I got 9 questions. I got through 9 questions, and I walked away with $20,300.
Dang.
Which paid for the wedding and not much more. No.
Hey, you could have done like my husband and I. We just went to the courthouse.
That's true. We could have.
We're renewing our vows. It's 15 years next year. So we're renewing our vows. We're going to have, it's going to be very, very unorthodox. He wears shorts and t-shirts every year, like every day, year round, winter included. And we're in Missouri. So I don't know if you know about winters in Missouri. I want to wear a gown that actually I chose this time. So I'm going to wear a gown. And I told him he can wear his t-shirt, but it has to be a tuxedo t-shirt.
Love it.
So, and our first dance is probably going to be something really stupid like the Thriller dance or, I don't know, something like that because we're weirdos.
We did 500 Miles by the Proclaimers and had a choreographed dance, and it was like goofy and great.
Well, did you watch Everybody Loves Raymond?
No.
Okay, you have to go, when we get off here, go YouTube and find Amy and Robert's first dance. I sent that to him. I'm like, there's our first dance. I got it. We're doing it. It's either that or we're doing Dirty Dancing. So which means I need to lose a few pounds.
Need to practice the lift,
well, I need to lose a few pounds for him to, with his bad back, to be able to lift me. But
you could make it where the groom's party all helps lift.
Bryan, that just sucked so bad.
I didn't mean for any reason like that. I meant for so that you didn't hurt your husband's back.
I hate you so much.
I think you just took me the wrong way here, but
you hear the laugh. I don't get offended at all. Like, that was hilarious. Well, you're talking about Veronica Mars is your favorite show and how that show wasn't not safe for work. And I'm like, yeah, I got to catch up on The Boys and The Walking Dead's coming back.
Oh yeah.
It's ending. I don't watch girl stuff very much. I watched Bridgerton. I did watch Bridgerton.
Bridgerton is fun.
I love it.
Yeah.
But Outlander, if we're going to go historical, we're going Outlander. Yeah. Now, before I release you, can you give us the websites and anywhere you can be found?
Sure. Well,
stalking options, make them endless.
Okay. Happy to do it. And thanks, for having me. This has been fun.
Oh, it was a blast.
Yeah, good. So you can check out the self-publishing and email marketing Kickstarter at kickyouremail.com. That runs through June 30th. You can listen to the Sell More Book Show after you listen to this show. You can listen to the Sell More Book Show on Wednesdays or Thursdays at really anywhere podcasts can be found. Sell More Book Show. And then my challenge that we were talking about, the ad challenge, the next one's in July. And you can find that at authorsadvertise.com.
And I highly recommend taking it. This is your first time, or if you've never succeeded at doing Amazon ads, I highly suggest taking that course.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for coming on. This was a blast. I don't know if I've ever laughed this much in a freaking interview. I'm wiping tears, and I actually video record my podcast, so people are going to see me wiping mascara away as I'm laughing.
That's amazing.
Yeah, well, thanks for that.
I'm happy to provide that visual for everybody.
Thanks. All right, Bryan. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lynn.
If you've enjoyed this episode of A Hot Mess Writer's Life, Help for the Indie Author, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I'd love if you'd leave a review.